Garth, you've taught only for 1 year at a private school in Colorado. How are you going to run a school district?
So one of the things I've learned in my career is that shaping the learning experience of students takes a really broad range of skills. Kids only learn in a classroom with teachers and content, and I think as a leader, as an instructional leader, you have to understand that. But there's a huge range of things that as leaders we do to shape that. I think my experience in New York, my experience in New Haven demonstrates pretty clearly that I effectively shape those learning experiences. Part of that's being thoughtful and strategic about the things and ways you support people and ways you set up the system. And part of that, frankly, is about team and having people around who have a different set of skills.
How will a white guy from out of town run a school district that's 86% black and Hispanic?
I think the questions of race are ones that we have to be able to talk about. I know I'm a white man who grew up in Philadelphia and who had a really privileged education. I know that. Part of what that does for me is it sets an example for me of what we have to provide for these kids here. It's part of my passion for this work. I know over the last 4 years, right, I've come to make connections in all parts of this community. Frankly, I have stronger connections in the minority community than I do in the Yale community right now, given the work that I've done and given the kind of person that I am. And so I think it's critical for us to be able to talk about race, but at the end of the day, what matters is the quality of the education that all of our students, and that 86% minority students, the quality education that they get, and I hope that that's what people pay attention to in this.
You spend weekends on your wife's farm in Ridgefield. How much time do you spend in New Haven?
I spend most of my time in New Haven. I spend most of my nights in New Haven. I spend most of my days, very long days, here in New Haven. My wife is a farmer in Ridgefield. It's a family farm. Frankly, it's land that her mother's buried on. And so that's part of having a modern relationship. And the woman I love is, that's where her life is centered. And so, yeah, I spend a few days a week there. Oftentimes on the weekends, more time in the summer than in the winter. But most of my time is here in New Haven, and all of my professional focus is here in New Haven.
Were you run out of your job in the New York City's public schools?
I was not run out of my job in New York City public schools.
Why did you choose to come to New Haven?
Two reasons. Well, actually, let me tell a story. Can I tell a story about this first? Right. So, I was approaching the end of my tenure in New York. I mean, I sort of was deciding that I wanted to move on and do other things. I wanted to do school change at a deeper effort, school reform in a deeper way than we were in New York. I did my work in special education, senior coordinator for special education. Huge protests when I was appointed. There's this guy he's not a teacher and not a special ed teacher to boot. I did that for 6 months, and by the end of that project, the same advocates who objected to my appointment were calling the mayor and the superintendent or the chancellor to try and get them to keep me from coming to Connecticut. I came here. I came to New Haven. Really two reasons. The most important, professionally, I was excited about what the mayor and the superintendent were launching here. And I wanted to do this work of school reform at a deeper and more engaged level in a way that I felt like we could here in New Haven with the foundation that had been built. I also came in part because my wife's life was increasingly centered here in Connecticut. I wanted to find the place that I thought had the most potential here in Connecticut. New Haven was it.
Given your ties to the Broad Foundation, the National Association of Charter School Authorizers, and your work closing hundreds of schools in New York, some people are concerned you'll bring a more market-based style of reform to New Haven. And with Garth Harries as superintendent, are we going to see more school closures and charter management organizations taking over public schools?
I think there's too much heat and not enough light in the education reform debates. I think charters have their place, but are not a complete answer. I think there's lots of money that's made in education, whether it's a textbook publishing company, a consulting firm, or someone who's operating a school, a private operator of a school. That said, what I focus on is not who's doing the work, but are we getting good results? And are we getting good results for all of our kids? I think part of the challenge to the school reform movement broadly is we don't have anywhere in this country, whether it's reform or non-reform district, we don't have a place where we can confidently say every school is a good school, every student's getting a good education. And I think New Haven can be and has to be that place where we do that.
So will we see more closures and more outside groups taking over New Haven schools?
I mean, I think we'll continue the work that we've done over the last few years, which is welcome outside partners where we think they can add value. I think we'll do school turnarounds, where we think that's the most, the best and the fastest way to get to good results for kids. And one of the things we've seen are turnarounds. When we've done the reform committees going to visit turnarounds, what we've realized is it's not just good for kids, it's good for teachers, it's good for parents. Part of what we've built is our schools that are much, where everyone feels a greater sense of agency and a greater sense of purpose. And when a turnaround is going to help us do that, absolutely we'll do it. We're also not going to hand over the district to anybody else other than us to run it. Again, my responsibility is to make sure that every kid is getting a quality education. I'm committed to that responsibility, and I'm going to work with anybody, whether they're inside the district or outside the district, who can help us get to that result.